Stuff like that. Okay, you set and sorted?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And here we go. Well, it's my great pleasure to be here with writer, director and performer David John Hopper.
Hello.
It's great to see you, and to be honest, I mean, we've kind of got to know each other almost by accident. I mean, I knew you as everybody knows you from seeing you on stage.
Yeah.
And you do get this impression that, oh, I know him.
Yeah.
And then we chatted on Facebook, and then I staggered into Ziggy's one time.
Yeah,
and,
the buskers.
That's
yeah.
right, yes. And you introduced me to some fine IPAs.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did, and it all manifested from there, didn't
Well,
it?
that's it, yes. I mean, we've kind of... and recently we've collaborated, which is what prompted me to want to talk to you now.
Yeah, on Once Upon a Storytime. So we met at Ziggy's, and you said, "Oh, I recognise you from Panto," and I recognised you from doing the old stuff at the Customs House with Ray and Bob.
That's it.
And yeah, and then you got up to play, and at the time I was coming up with a new piece of children's theatre, and then after seeing you play, it just kind of inspired an idea in my head, and then I knew you were also a storyteller, and yeah, it just kind of formed, and then we talked from there about it, didn't we, and devised a new piece, which was lovely. Once Upon a Storytime.
It was absolutely fantastic. I mean, it was almost like a marathon. I mean, we started on the Friday and we performed it by the Wednesday.
Yeah, which is the norm for these little shows.
You see, I'm not really used to this, to be honest. I mean, I have come across this with Ray Spencer, like a common friend of ours, very common. But it's like this thing of everything done almost as like a last minute thing.
I mean, it is weird. It happens more in the professional world than it does happen in the amateur world, because obviously in amateurs you can spend 3 months rehearsing. But obviously, time is money when it comes to professional work. So, I once did a pantomime, an Easter pantomime, with a fantastic Leah Bell, who is one of the best people I've ever worked for. And we had to do that in 2 days, a full panto. I was the dame in that. And literally, it was 2 days and it was on.
Within the storytelling, I mean, I'm very used to improvising stories almost, you know, like on the spot, but we do have like a common background. I mean, we're both. I think the first time I saw you was at the Westovians.
Yes.
So I was in the Westovians. It was 30 years earlier than you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So was that where you first got the bug for performing?
No. I did a lot of work before that. Basically, for me, the Customs House Panto was the goal for a long time. I used to watch Ray do Tommy the Trumpeter. I'm going to have to go from the beginning. I lived in Concert. I'm from Concert originally. And every summer, my mum would bring us over to South Shields with my two sisters, and would get a Tura caravan and would stay at Sandhaven on the seafront. Would stay there for all the summer, all the 6 weeks, and every week would go down and see Tommy the Trumpeter's parties. Then because of that, we started going to the pantomime, and I started watching the Customs House pantomime. And that's what gave us I want to do that. I want to do what he's doing there. It really did. And so I started doing stuff at school, at secondary school. The first production I ever did was Cinderella, and I really wanted buttons, but I got Dandini. But then on the actual show night, I just improved a load about the teachers of the school, and the kids loved it. And effectively stole the comic role off the poor young lad who was playing buttons, because I just improv so much. And I remember that and going, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Can you remember how the other fella, the buttons, sort of took it?
No. I mean, I do.
Hopefully, you were
feel
bigger and stronger than him.
Yeah, I've always been big, but yeah, I do look back at it as like, oh dear, knowing that now, not to upstage people, not to do that, knowing all these rules. But it was my first ever show, and I was 13 or something.
Yeah.
And then that led on to school musicals, and then I was a part of the concert theatre workshop, and then I started coming to David DeCassa's performers that's based in Bolton.
All right, I've never heard of this, so
Yeah, so David Ducasse, again, lovely person. He was in Scooch,
yes.
We're flying the flag, at Eurovision, and he runs...
I'll have to see if we've got a licence for that now.
Yeah, no, because it's only so many seconds, isn't it? Maybe I should have just gone, we're flying. And, yeah, so then I started going there every Sunday, which was more Shields-based. And then I went to college, which was Sage Academy at Biker, which is a professional drama school. And then I left halfway through that course for many reasons, but I moved to the Isle of Wight for a year as a singer and sang around holiday parks and hotels.
How much do you think you learned from sort of going to holiday parks?
From that experience, a lot. Yeah, because you're expected to sing full out every night, and when I first got there, young lad, I was just turning 18 when I moved down there.
Full of vim and vigour.
Yeah, no, I can drink whatever I like. I can smoke as many tabs as I want.
Yeah. And
then I realised I couldn't because I was expected to sing a 2-hour show every night. So that quickly stopped, and the one thing it really did help with was saving me voice and knowing how far I can push me voice, which would later come in handy in pantomime, because obviously you're doing 2 shows a day. So I did that for a year, and then I came back and I landed the professional panto at Concert with Leah Bell. That's when I first worked for her.
Yes.
So I did Dick Whittington was my first pantomime. I was Bobby Sausage. I was the newspaper boy, Bobby Sausage, who for some reason, it was quite similar to me, Arbuthnot voice now, but for some reason I made him Cockney. I don't know why, looking back, because obviously one of the things that works with Arbuthnot now is how Geordie he is, and how...
But do you not think that the accent part, which especially came in with the Once Upon a Storytime,
yes,
the fact that you all assumed a different accent for the different stories, I mean... But within Concert, if you have a different accent, it makes you stand out.
Yeah, possibly. But I think Northeast people react to Northeast accents better.
Make us sound so insular.
No, but yeah. But I think I do as well. I watched Rain Bob growing up, and it is that accent. And I remember, I think it was Donald McBride, who was in the Customs House panto, who used to say, "Me doubter." Or might have been Graham Overton.
Right.
It's one of the two. I can't really remember, I was very young. But yeah, his whole shtick was he'd say, "Me doubter." Does anyone see me doubter? People would love it. Like, it was just because it was so Geordie. And so I did Bobby Sausage in Cockney, and then I was Dandini again in Cinderella, like my school one, but I didn't steal it from Buttons that time. Actually, during that pantomime, this is a great story, the whole set fell on the guy playing Buttons' head. He was an older guy, a magician called Damien, and he was a lovely bloke. And we were doing this scene, and I was right at the front of the stage with Ugly Sisters, and he was like downstage. And we turned round, and the weight hadn't been put on the stage properly, and the whole wooden set just came down. The Ugly Sisters tried to run and grab him out, but I was just so in shock of what was going on. I must have looked like a horrible person, because I was just stood there watching it happen. Luckily, he was fine. But it was funny. And then...
So your scheme to make this into a one-man panto just didn't work?
Yeah. And then I was Giggler the Dwarf in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Giggler. And then I was the Genie in Aladdin, which was my favourite role I played there. And during this whole time, I absolutely loved it. And I did, and I learned so much off Leah Bell, as many of my friends and colleagues have done now, because a few people have worked for her. And yeah, she's amazing. Yeah. And looking back now, I think at the time, because, when you just come out of drama school and stuff, you go, oh, I know how to do this. And I was like that to begin with, but I slowly learned, as I am still learning now, that you learn on the job, and, You never stop learning?
It's strange because listening to you, I've just heard an interview with Roy Hood, and he was saying like how much he learned because he became like a redcoat.
Yeah.
You know, worked alongside Dave Allen, worked alongside Cliff Richard.
Yeah.
You know, and like learned on the job is the main thing.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And like looking back, I learned loads from Leah Bell at OR a lot. Probably learned more from Leah Bell than I did at drama school, which is good. No, but that's true.
But that's the way that it goes. I
mean, and during this time, I just couldn't help but thinking, but I want to do the Customs House Panto. That's what I want to do. But it's hard to leave somewhere when you've got, you know, a regular job. Leah was offering it me, you know, again and again and again every year. And you know, you can't. It's a risk to go. I'm going to leave this.
Right.
You know, it'd be a risk if I left the Customs House now.
Yes.
Because that was regular Christmas work. Yeah. So, but the Customs House was what I wanted to do. The Customs House was the goal. And I had a chat with Leah about it. I was very open about it, and she knew Ray. I didn't know this, but Ray and her go way back.
I think there's an element of Ray knows everybody.
Yes, yes, there is. But yeah, so I said no to Leah. I turned her down for the 5th year, and I went out on a high because I loved the genie in Aladdin. I did it very Robin Williams-esque, and you know, all the different voices. Got to show off a bit, and yeah, and then I thought, you know what, that's a good one to end on here. Loved it, absolutely loved it, and then I took a risk, and I left Leah's Panto, and I approached Ray, and I just told him, I said, I want to do your Panto. I said, I've done 4 years with Leah Bell, and you know, that's what I want to do. And he was very nice about it, and he just came to see me in a lot, I remember. He used to come and see. So this is when primarily I started doing shows at Westovians, because I wanted to do as much in Shields as possible.
All right.
So the end goal was Customs House Panto. Not that I used Westovians, I loved Westovians, everything I did at Westovians.
Oh, yes.
One of my favourite shows to date is The Importance of Being Earnest, which I did with my very good friend Andrew Dawson, and we had just such a laugh with it.
So, but you are known more for the comic roles, but when you were at the Westovians, you did do more serious plays.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I did Importance of Being Earnest. I did Accrington Pals, which is a wartime piece. What else did I do? I did the Panto. I think that's it. I can't think of anything else.
When you were working with Leah Bell, were you doing other, like...
Oh yeah, yeah. I was doing a lot throughout
the
the year. I started with Theatre Space North East in Sunderland, which is run by the fantastic Corin Kilvington. And she was doing seasons at the time of tragedy Shakespeare, a kids show, and then a comedy Shakespeare all in the summer. And me and Corin had met a few times. We weren't like close friends. I appeared on her radio show. I'd done a fundraiser for our mutual friend Lauren. And then she put up that she was looking for people for the kids show, which was at the time King Arthur. So I went to it and I prepared stuff, and you know, because I was doing panto, I just did a panto monologue, and I got Merlin, and that was great fun. That was like Theatre Space North East was just an amazing laugh, and so I did that. I just did the kids show the first time I worked with her. And then the year coming up, she offered me the kids show again, which was it Treasure Island? Yes. Yes, it was Treasure Island. And then she also said, and I want to offer you Sir Toby Belch in Twelfth Night, which is the comedy Shakespeare. And at the time I'd done no professional Shakespeare. You know, I'd had a go at it. But I enjoyed watching Shakespeare, but I just didn't think I had the intelligence to do it. I just very
Well, I think you're being very hard on yourself.
I was. I doubted myself a lot, and but it is hard to go straight into a big role in Shakespeare, which Sir Toby Belch was.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I loved it, and I had a great time. It took us a while to wrap my head around how to learn Shakespeare lines. But yeah. And
well, the lines, like any other lines, it's just that there's more of them and not in common sort of like idiomatic phrases.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's different.
And that led on to other Shakespeare roles, and I worked with Corin and Theatre Space North East for four seasons? Yes, 4 seasons. I ended up playing Friar Lawrence in Romeo and Juliet, which I did as Northumbrian, again using local accents. Mickle is the powerful faith that lies. I did Falstaff, which is one of my favourite roles I've ever played.
But you also said it was like, sometimes it felt like it was the climbing the mountain, like trying to learn it all.
Oh yeah, Falstaff was incredibly difficult to learn. Because he just spoke so much.
Yeah.
He never had like a bit line. He never said, yes sir. Do you know what I mean? It was always...
Why would anybody possibly cast you in that role? If somebody talks like
yeah.
we find ourselves.
Aye.
But almost as a sideline, do you think that sometimes people regard like the entertaining part, the children's part, as almost as something that's throwaway and doesn't have the same kind of skill to it?
Oh, interesting question. Within the industry, I'm trying to say this diplomatic. Within the industry, there's definitely people who think that. You know, there's people who don't think pantomime is as hard as portraying a realistic character. There's people who don't think pantomime is a skill.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't single anybody out. Some people are like that,
Mm-hmm. But surely by the very fact that you've got an audience who, one, have probably never been in the theatre before, and two, have got a limited attention span.
Yeah.
You know, if you're working with the under fives as well.
Pantomime, the thing that I always say though is to these people who say this are primarily people who don't get cast in a pantomime, so that's why they're saying it. But pantomime is its own art form, and if you really want to get into it, you can with Commedia dell'arte and all of that, the Harlequins and stuff, and you can look into that, which I have, and I enjoy looking into, and looking into miming and clowning, and it's variety. Panto can be anything, and I think they're very different skill sets, but I wouldn't say one's harder than the other.
No.
Especially the slapstick side of things, to do 72 shows, as you've seen me falling around, getting bruised, falling on me bum, and I think sometimes that is harder than just standing and saying lines.
Right. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been the pantomime dame too, so
yeah. As you know,
that's what got me back into performance. So.
But I enjoy that question because it is a bit of a debate, I guess. But I think
there is no right or wrong, but I just think it's like teaching children. It's like people look down on those who teach the very young children, thinking that it's not that hard. But if anything, it's.
But I mean, if
10,000 plates.
Yeah, if you see a really good clown at a circus who can juggle 10 balls at once, who can stack chairs up, 20 times and then stand on the top of it. That's panto. That's clowning. That's a clowning routine. I'd say that's a lot harder than learning some lines. I can juggle 3 balls, and that's taking me 3 years. Do you know what I mean?
That's something I'd pay for. So, a lot of the time you're talking about with Leah Bell and sort of like the pantomimes in various places, that's very seasonal, but do you think that when you came over to Shields, I mean, that sounds a bit like the dark side, but when you came over to Shields, summer's also a very busy time for you.
Yes, it is. And It always was with Theatre Space North East, but then after I got Customs House Panto from the lovely Ray Spencer, and it was Jack and the Beanstalk, my first one. He was supposed to be directing the spin-off show, which was The Cow Jumped Over the Moon, because we had Donington the cow, the big cow, and Ray was supposed to be writing and directing it, and I was supposed to be in it. And then unfortunately Ray couldn't do it anymore. And he called me into his dressing room, and this was my first pantomime, and he said, the half-term show, you need to do something. And I was like, what do you mean I've got to do something? And he went, you're going to have to put it on because I can't do it anymore.
Right.
So I just was given this opportunity to write and direct a show at the Customs House. You know, my only goal was to get the panto, and I'd done it. And then it was just this another opportunity presenting itself, and you know, I grabbed it by the horns, as it were, and I did it, and it was great. It was great. I got to cast some people who I love to bits, and I had to. Yeah, I had to conceive a brand new show, and it was the first experience I had of doing that.
But isn't that always the best way? I mean, again, you're thrown in at the deep end, and
yeah.
I mean, quite often when you're doing an audition,
Yeah.
I mean, I've never had to do any auditions. I used to do something called floor spots, where you turn up at a club and you'd play, and if they liked you, they booked you. But with theatre, it's more based around like auditions.
Yeah.
So somebody says like, can you do tumbling? Oh yeah, of course I can. And then you go home and watch the Charles Atlas book of like how to tumble, so you're like one week ahead of everybody else. But that, I suppose that goes back to almost the first question, which was this thing of putting on a pantomime or putting on a show in a very short space of time. So
yes.
you just have to have those skills. I mean, luckily we were blessed with having Ely Tolman and
William Wynne Davies,
yes.
who are phenomenal. And
Yeah.
I met at Theatre Space North East, so it all
right.
ties in together. Yeah, we did. And you get, like I said, time is money with professional productions, and you know, the budgets for the shows are decent. You know, everyone gets paid. But yeah, you did. But you know, as a director, you don't want to take the mick. You know, it's a nice amount of money, but you don't want to then go, oh, but you've got to do 3 weeks rehearsal, because it's just not viable. You know, and Ely Talman and William and Davies are jobbing actors who are now going off to do other things. You know, you've got to keep going, and I knew it would be fine. I kept saying it in rehearsals, didn't I? I was always trying to convince myself it's going to be fine, but it was. Because
you could tell we agreed with you by the terror in our eyes.
Yeah.
It'll be
But
fine.
it was fine.
It was absolutely marvellous.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I loved it. I loved Once Upon a Storytime. But yeah, so after I did that first one, Ray and the Customs House just kept giving us more opportunities to do more shows.
There is a certain ethos within the Customs House, though, to promote local writing, though, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, local anything, they're great at that. I was having this conversation with someone recently at the Customs House. You know, look at the actors they're casting, look at the directors they're using, look at the writers they're using, everyone they're using. I'd say easily 90% of in-house productions are all people based in the Northeast. And there is not, I mean, apart from the amateur companies, there is not a theatre that is doing that in the Northeast. Hands down, I can't think of one. You look at your likes of the Theatre Royal, I'll name them, I don't mind. And yeah, they hire some, but not like the. I'm trying to not to go into a rant here, but they audition from London. You know, they audition actors from London. Yeah, if you can't find the right actor in the Northeast, but I mean, I've now been working professionally for 7 years, and I have never managed to get an audition at Never once. 7 years I've been here. I don't think I'm even on their radar. Do you know what I mean? And that's not me tooting my own horn going, oh, I deserve that. Because I'm not bothered. But that's weird to me. It's just strange. Whereas you look at the amount of chances, everyone, I can think of all of my friends and colleagues who, you know, other actors who I'm very close friends with, have all at least had one opportunity at the customs house. Have at least had the chance to audition.
Yeah. So there's like an open policy that they're more than happy to try everybody.
Yeah,
but
and I have had people up from London, you know, we have for the Panto, we've had people who, but mainly people who were born in this area and then have moved away. It's just nice. I just think that's nice and it's right. And I don't think it has to happen everywhere, but it would be nice to see more of it in other places, is what I'm saying.
I think there's only room for a guitar-playing banjo player.
Certainly. I need to book you for my birthday, actually.
I'm very conscious. I'm very conscious that your lawyer's getting something fried in the background there.
Let's get a bit hot.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what I said.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Have I said anything bad, lawyer?
No, man.
No. I mean, do you want to keep that thing in about the about like saying about?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah,
because it's true. I'm not really saying anything wrong. It's true.
Yeah.
You look at, for example,
right.
I think maybe 3 or 4 of the entire cast, 4, 5, were from the northeast, and the cast was.
The only thing I think about that is that. When I used to be travelling around storytelling, I'd be in Manchester, and all of the plasterers and builders would all be Geordies. And then if I was working in Northumberland, all of the plasterers and joiners would be from Manchester.
Yeah.
You know, so it's. I suppose people tend to go with who they know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, but it must be hard. I mean, I think as a non-actor, we all have this idea of. You know, the classic line of "I'm resting" and things like that. It must be difficult. I mean, it's difficult in any kind of profession to have a life that's funded through performance.
Oh, definitely.
But more so, I feel for acting. Would you say that's true? Or?
I wouldn't say more so. I'd say on the same level. I mean. It is, I think it's easy to get annoyed at certain things. You know, it's easy to go, oh, why didn't I hear about that? It's easy to go, oh, why didn't I get a look in for that? It's easy to go, oh, I'm better than him. Do you know what I mean? It's easy to get in that mindset, and you just haven't got to get there. You've got to.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's absolutely amazing the amount of experience that you've had, and I mean. You're about a third of my age, and I'm just kind of, not that makes me feel old, but it's just a case of you've done such a lot because you have to take whatever comes in.
I think also, like, I look back because I do think I'm very lucky, and I think I've been very lucky, and I've looked back at all the opportunities I've got and how I've got to this point. And, you know, now this show, this year, I'm on to directing and writing 6 shows. And I never thought I'd be doing that, even last year. I didn't think I'd be doing that. And I look back on it, and I think one of the main things I did well, even when I was younger, was knowing my niche and knowing what I was and knowing what I was good at. I knew I was the fat comedy sidekick. I just knew that. And sometimes I've got people I know who go for certain auditions and they go, I'm going for this part. And, you know, you read the part description and you look back up at them and you don't say it. You know, but you understand what I mean. You go, I don't think you're right for this part. And just even from your friend just reading it. And That's all I did primarily. I was the fat comic guy who was, and that's not. I don't mind saying that about myself.
Well, I think you're very hard on yourself because the dramatic understanding you have within the writing that we've done together. I mean, you write intelligently. I know you've got collaborators that you work with. There's Dale.
Yeah, fantastic Dale Jewett.
Yes, he's marvellous.
Yes.
I mean, but that's what I said to you when I saw your other Arbuthnot play. I said, this is intelligent writing for children. It doesn't talk down to them.
Yeah, you can't talk down to kids.
But lots of people do.
Yes.
I mean, I was absolutely astonished with the quality of the writing.
Oh, well, thanks.
You know, because when I'm telling stories, they're not stories that are all Gingerbread Man, Goldilocks, Three Bears. It's quite involved, and it's about like a journey. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, the big difference, like with the stories, it's just beginning, middle, and end. There's no like side parts.
Bless me.
Oh, bless you. Yeah.
Oh.
You'll have to have a third one now, because we're not superstitious.
No, I only ever have two.
But there's no sideline. But in the stories that you did, there was a message, there was a meaning, it was all that, and it wasn't deep and hidden.
Yeah.
It was there to be seen.
Yeah. And I made a very early decision with that. Because I've done many kids shows. I've done lots of kids shows when I've been reading the script in rehearsals with the director, and I've gone, I'm not saying that. And then they question that, because yes, you can't talk down to kids, but you've just got to be smart and make sure you're not putting anything in there that can be misconstrued to kids. You know, because they're clever.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
kids are very clever, and they pick up and repeat a lot of things.
Yeah.
And for the first few shows we didn't have a baddie even. For the cow jumped over the moon and the cow jumped into the woods, there was no villain whatsoever. The whole premise was there was a problem and the team found a solution together as a team.
Yeah.
So the first one, Donington the cow wanted to go over the moon. She wanted to be an astronaut. The problem was she couldn't be because she was a cow. But the team all got together and helped her to reach her dream. And it was only the beginning of this year started putting baddies in them. First, Stephen Hamilton as the Fantastic Flesh Creep.
Yes.
Amazing. And then it was Stephen Petty as Captain Banana. Again, amazing. But even then, I didn't make them scary.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I
No,
made
yeah.
sure I wasn't making them too scary, and you've just got to have a message in there. And that message really tied in with The Greatest Showman, the one I picked for the pirate adventure, with Captain Banana not letting people be who they want to be, with the whole "this is me" message that's currently going on with Greatest Showman. So, you know, tying it into culture at the minute and what the kids are listening to, because all the kids are listening to Greatest Showman. It'll be in every panto ever this year. It will. Every panto. Well, you heard it here first. Every panto this year will have Greatest Showman, and so tying that message into it, and we didn't even sing "This Is Me" in it. But yeah, that was the message, because he was a Trekkie in the end. He liked Star Trek.
Right. Oh no! But like I say, I was hugely impressed. So that was it.
Good.
I wonder. I mean, I'd love to see you in something serious. Not that I don't love what you do.
Yeah.
So do you have any aspirations to maybe as your career progresses to try more dramatic roles?
Yeah, I mean, I've been quite. I had a bad experience last year with a certain production. Which I won't go into, but it put me off auditioning this year. I've only had one audition this year, and that's because I got asked to go to it. They said, "Will you please come audition for it?" And I said, "Yeah, cool." And so that's the only audition I went to. Didn't get it. But I haven't actively looked for things because of that such bad experience last year. It put me off working for the companies, and the Customs House gave me so much this year. I was just like, cool.
Okay.
But I think,
But it's good. It's good to regroup. I mean, that's
and
it's that
been good for
pick
me.
yourself up and you sort of go yes, and rebuild your confidence and go yes, I know what I can do.
It has been good for me mentally. It has been good for me mental health to just recoup and just sit down and go right. Okay, let's plan what happens next. And so next year I'm going to be actively looking for things. Whether I get anything, I don't know. But it would be nice. It would be nice to just show the other side of what I can do. I think the two main ones that I've done that stand out in my mind, talking about dramatic roles, is Falstaff, which I've already mentioned, which I just really got into and related to him, even if anything, even though he's an old man. I had to portray him as an old man, but some of the things he said about honour and didn't like the way things are run. I just used it of what I think of how this country's being run now. certain things, related, even though we did it in like medieval times.
I mean, that's the thing about Shakespeare, like the relevance. It's because you wrote about the human condition. Yeah. But the way that he's enriched our language is the other thing. All these things you say, band of brothers, eyes wide shut, and all these phrases that people just trip off the tongue, don't realise come from Shakespeare.
The other one I did, and I'll have to talk about her because I loved her so much. When I first came to Shields, I got introduced to a lady called Jackie Fielding, who unfortunately has left us now. But she was amazing, and she kind of became me Obi-Wan Kenobi within my acting world. That's the only way I can really describe her. And I got the chance to work with her professionally, and that was amazing. It was Catherine Cookson's 15 Streets. Now at the time, and I've not really said this story before, only to close friends, I'd broken my hand. I had a full cast on there. A silly accident. But someone had dropped out of this production of 15 Streets. Now at the time I'd already know who the cast was, and the cast was amazing. It was people I'd never worked with before. It was Jamie Brown, it was Neil Armstrong, Jess Johnson, amazing actors, Lauren Wayne, Paul Dunn, just right off the bat, incredible people. And someone was supposed to be playing this part of Dominic, the evil brother, who was a boxer. And he dropped out. I don't know why. But so Jackie rang me and said, I want to have a chat with you. And she talked to us, she explained, and she went, I want to offer you the part, but he's a boxer, and how long have you got to keep that on for? And it was a full cast, and I said, how long? And that was the time of the show. And we talked about it for a while, and I can't really remember whose idea it was, but it ended up in me cutting the cast off and us not telling the rest of the cast I had a broken hand. So,
right, okay.
So I did.
This is suffering for your art.
Yes, but I was not gonna not do it, and I there was a lot of begging going on. There was a lot of yes, no, don't get someone else, and I cut the cast off, and I had full fight scenes with Jamie Brown, fantastic actor, and I had a broken hand whilst doing it. So
that's a heck of a story, that one.
Yeah, and I wouldn't recommend that in no way. I'm advising anyone to do that. Luckily, I'm okay, but it could have ended badly. But that was an incredible show. That really was, and I don't look back goodly on my performance. I thought, because at the time I was just so in awe of everyone else who was in the show doing this fantastic work, and I don't really know how I did, to be honest, but Falstaff I think I did very well with. Falstaff I can look back on fondly for me. Yeah. It's a bit like therapy, this story. This is weird. At all.
Well, all I'd like to say is, like, I held you in the highest awe before I got to know you properly. And that determination, I just wish you the best of luck in the future. Well
thank
done,
you, Tony. And it was genuinely a pleasure to collaborate with you. I had a great time, and this.
So we did.
I've never been interviewed before, so this was an experience in itself. So thank you.
It's just been great. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Tony.